Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming and welcome to day 2 of Arc Raiders. I'm recording this on the second day, but at this moment we're talking about XP and how I've reached 21 in the first 2 days. How do you level up as fast as possible? Well, as you can see, I've been having raids of 33k XP in one raid, or say 25k's multiple times. So how am I doing that? Why do you want to do that? And what should you do with your skill points? Let's talk about it. First, why level up fast? Well, obviously you've got the skill points. These being dumped into the skill tree have a major impact on your experience. Whether it's dealing with PvE and PvP with just improved stamina, where it's a massive advantage there. Look, you want XP to progress your skill tree, that's obvious. But did you know that Celeste, one of the most important vendors in the game, offers you more things when you're higher level? And these scale into our crafting, where you're going to need these resources to make some of the more impactful guns. It's not just that though. If you come to Raider and click this, Trials, you unlock an entirely new system at level 15, which is unbelievably valuable. We have these goals that looks like it's going to reset on Monday, where you go in and do as much as you can. Each individual thing gives you a special reward. So if I do 1,000 damage to leapers, I'll get this uncommon reward. If I do 2,500, even better. 4,000, the best one. These can be blueprints, which unlock incredible weapons and upgrades in general. Or it can literally be just incredible weapons straight up to use immediately. So your goal is to do these 5 objectives when you get them unlocked, get all of the best rewards, and if you want, you can push the leaderboards like I did, just for a bit of fun. There is something else you unlock with levels. At level 20, you're going to get projects, the expedition, which is basically setting up for resetting the account and prestiging, and apparently getting permanent upgrades. My friend was telling me that it scales how many things you get from scrappy, and seemingly it's infinite. So long term, this is going to be a very important thing, but for us right now, probably not too important. Let's cover the XP sources just to highlight which content actually rewards you the most and how. First up, we have looting, tagged as scavenged XP in that XP overview at the end of the raid. The neat part about scavenged XP is that the container provides the same XP even if it's been looted already. That could be slightly looted, full of loot, or literally empty, it doesn't matter. In fact, an already open container tells you someone's already been in there, but it means you can have a look in there and you know it's looted or even empty and you can exit instantly. So if you're going through an area where players have been, it's actually a good thing to take advantage of their looted area, tapping all of the things quickly and getting the XP super quick. If you're playing in a team, you could loot a wing, your friend could loot a different wing, and then you swap just to collect all the fast loot XP before you leave. Doing this kind of thing is an easy way to net hundreds of XP in seconds. And the XP scales based on the container type. So for a lot of the time you get 200 XP for generic loot. You could be looting a dead raider for another 500, larger arcs another 500. Consider this run I did earlier. I came out with high valuables. Everything there I could sell for about 50k currency, that's fine. But it was actually a 9-minute raid. I'd looted the highest value location on that map, Dan Battlegrounds, that's the research building. And I didn't kill anyone either. So that was 4,500 XP from looting containers and big money at the same time. This kind of XP is guaranteed. If something went wrong, someone showed up, killed me, I still would have got that XP. Compare it to this much longer run that was just shy 30 minutes. 33,000 XP total. Here you can see a huge chunk of this came from looting, scavenging. But the reality of this situation was I was hunting high value arcs. So this bastion here, when it's destroyed, there is a ton of parts that you can loot individually, each one popping that big burst of XP. So dealing damage to it gave me XP, looting it gave me XP, and other sources too, so there's a lot of XP there for sure, including a big chunk from literally just looting. What's great about scavenged XP though, is that you can get massive amounts of it with no downside. Like if it all goes wrong, you still get that. So you want to consider this aspect of XP generation when you're near any loot ever. And if you're next to something, might as well open it. Next we have damage though, of many kinds. Kills, raw damage, assists, what the target was, and more. Let's start with arc. You get XP from just damaging arc and obviously destroying them. The killing blow will give you XP, but assist will also give you XP. Here's a tough arc killing raid that I did, where I killed 1 leaper and 1 bombardier that raid, along with a pile of other basic arcs. I got 8k XP from damage alone, 600 from assist, 900 from the kills. Clearly, the value here was in the damage I did, the raw damage. And obviously you've got more damage you can deal before the enemy dies with tougher enemies. On the other hand, you have raider damage. So damaging raiders, knocking a raider out yourself like the last hit, as well as assists. This all gives you XP just like arc. So let's look at this run. I defeated 2 raiders. You can see I've got 1000 XP for specifically that. Plus, I looted 3 raiders that raid, so that pushed my scavenger XP up by 1500. I also dealt damage to them, so I got 650 XP for that. So between Arc and Raiders, you can clearly see that the damage XP and value of Arc specifically is incredible, whereas PvP and Raider damage and all that is a lot less. They encourage PvE in terms of XP a lot more than they do PvP, and that's something to think about. Other big sources of XP then will be the time in raid and surviving the raid. In regards to time in raid, I looked at a bunch of different runs. In roughly 9 minutes, I got 1.6k for being in that raid. For 20 minutes, I got 3.7k. For 25, 4.3. It just basically says the longer you're in the raid, the more XP you get for that, pushing towards probably a logical max of 5k. Meanwhile, for surviving, it's much the same and, doubles up on the time in raid. I looked at a few runs where I had 1.4k for surviving. It was a pure valuables run, which was pretty short. I looked at a 2.6k where I did a lot of PvP. And in an arc hunting run, I got 4.3k. That was a 25-minute run. So it seems like surviving the raid also scales that XP source with the longer you're in that raid. There are unreliable sources of XP outside of this, like bumping into new areas, and apparently later quests give XP. I've not seen that yet. But these ones aren't ones you can reliably push your XP and level quickly with, so I'm not going to worry about them in this video. So, how do you level up quickly based on the information we just considered? You have 2 options, and I think the real truth is doing a combination of them. Let's focus on the XP you get from scavenging, looting. What you could do is slap on a free loadout where obviously there's no risk because you went in with nothing. And then you can fill your bags by searching everything you damn well see and then leave as quickly as you can. Then you repeat this by running many raids. However, you could go the other extreme. Free loadout, but then no care in the world whether you live or die. This means all you care about is triggering the XP of opening some sort of container. You're not actually going to loot a single item, you're just going to run from container to container the whole raid until someone puts you down. The pros of this concept is that you'll get insane scavenge XP and faster than normal in greater numbers because you're not waiting to actually loot anything. So if you just want pure XP in the most brain dead easy way, that's how to do it. But the big cons here are the complete lack of progress in anything but XP. Arc hunting, the big boys in specific, is clearly immense value. Because the big arcs break into multiple pieces, you're getting looting XP from that at the same time, and the value of that loot XP is better because they're bigger targets. Then you're also getting valuables and great resources because you're killing the big boys, which in turn makes you money, or you use it for crafting or other progression, which is really why a combination is actually best. And the longer the raid, the better it is. On these runs, on average, I'm 20 minutes, 25, or even close to 30. For me, it's been by far the best way to level up, and that's what I recommend. So, how do you kill the big arc in a reliable way? Bring yourself to the workshop, go to the explosive station. Even at level 1 you can do this. You can craft light impact grenades for dirt cheap, run 10 or 15 of these, and you can kind of imagine them like a light explosion. Once you strip the armor off a target, these are insanely effective. So using a heavy weapon like a ferro, stripping the armor, then spamming light impacts into that spot is actually effective. Your alternative is to bring yourself to the trader for explosives and consider snap blast grenades. They're fantastic. Having 3 of these, spamming them into one target, and then finishing the job after that will also work. The truth of how I actually did this though is every time I would find myself with a stock of grenades to actually work with, I'd bring them in and go arc hunting. Then with a healthy backup of 5 to 10 impact grenades, I'd make sure I finished the job. In the middle of a raid, you might kill hornets, you probably will. You can use these for a 10-second duration to these big boys, letting you finish them off really effective too. If you have any wolf packs lying around, could be something to consider. Check it out. You throw it above a target and it shatters into a bunch of missiles. These are homing. Ideally do this when the only target around is the one you care about, so that it one-shots it. If you do this wrong, maybe there's like a hornet or something, it'll tank some of those homing missiles and prevent the one-shot, which is a problem. My favorite targets to go for are bombardiers and bastions specifically. They provide so much search XP and incredible rewards. I'm selling their units and their cores and all that for 5,000 a pop, and I must pull like 6 to 12 every single kill. So yeah, I'm going to be doing an updated money guide soon. What should you do with the points that you're generating? Well, having a build in mind is obviously a good thing, and it's probably a bit late in the day for me to show you this, but I'm going to show you 2 options. Firstly, what I'm generally aiming for as a PvP focused player. Mobility is a non-negotiable, I think, for basically every build. You go into nimble climber so you can reach the 5 points in marathon runner and youthful lungs. This essentially resolves your ridiculous stamina issues in the opening of the game. Then you can go for whatever else you like. Personally, I put 4 points into slip and slide. I love being able to slide further and you recover stamina while sliding. These 4 points get me the rest of the way to carry the momentum, which gives me the spring dodge roll for no stamina cost after a sprint roll. Really fun and effective in combat. Then we can go into effortless roll to reduce the stamina cost of those rolls, and heroic leap from massive distance on those rolls. Why would you care about this? Rocketeers basically can't hit you when you roll anymore, and there are all kinds of purposes to that. The other 3 points I put take you to in-round crafting, so I get this probably the first 3 points I spent. So this is more of an arc and PvP focused setup. If instead you want to focus on XP and looting, here's the alternative that I'd like to talk about. Again, mobility all the way youthful lungs and marathon runner. I think everyone needs that stamina. Then I bring myself into survival and go for looter's instincts. This means that you loot things quicker. Obviously we're coming to in-round crafting, and then I go 5 points into agile croucher, so your movement speed while crouching is increased. We need a total of 15 points spent here, so I put 3 into revitalizing squat, 1 point into silent scavenger to double up on those benefits, and that gets us to suffer in silence. When you're critically injured, you're basically silent. I'm going to want that for PvP as well, to be honest. And then this incredible perk, good as new. While under a healing effect, stamina regen goes crazy. So you get shot or something, you put your shield back on, you pop a bandage, you get out of there. With that, we can get better crafting in raid with traveling tinkerer. And of course, broad shoulders for max weight, since you want to loot as much as you can. And looter's luck, so you might double up on how quick you are when you're looting. Otherwise, for future points, just want to mention, used to the weight, gentle pressure, gets you towards proficient prior. 3 out of 5 in this was enough to really have an impact on the harvester that the queen guards. So if you're looking to run that, you want that. So yeah, that's my overview of XP, how it works, what I've been doing to get a lot of it, and the strats that I'm using for each in the build plans. If this was useful to you guys, please do drop a like, and I'll be back with more useful information as I continue my own grind on day 3. If there's a topic or a question that you want answered, and you want someone to look into it, let us know in the comments, and I might just make a video about it. Until then, I've been Hollow, you've been you. Thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.